All right, this is Professor Dan. Back to you with our next iMovie tips and tricks. So now we're going to embed um, some pictures, and we're going to have some background audio, some Tchaikovsky maybe. But before we just dive right in, I wanted to just make sure we all knew where we were. And so in our last video, we showed you how to make titles, how to embed a video, and then how to play around with some voiceovers and and detaching the audio that was already included in our video. So now let's start with how we add extra audio. So if you watch the Scraper Redemption, you know I have the 1812 overture in there. So what does that sound like? Well, that's Peter Tchaikovsky. So let's go back and we click on audio, and yeah, let's say we want to include the 1812 overture. We would want to have that in this bottom area where there's the sound. It looks like the musical note. And so, yeah, we bring it down there all the way to the bottom, and boom, now we have the 1812 overture included in our video. But this 1812 overture is about 3.5 minutes long, and our video right now is, I don't know, 20 seconds. So we would want to trim that. So what does that look like? Well, we trim the 1812 overture music the same way we trim the videos. We click on the music, we right click, we click split clip, and we can delete some portions of it. But we can also change the volume of it. So let's say where I am in this area, scraping away, I want to have the 1812 overture a little shorter. Well, I would split the clip there at the start. Now I would split the clip here at the end, and I can adjust the volume of that area independently. So that's a pretty nice little feature right there. So while we're scraping, I can turn down my 1812 overture. Where I'm not scraping, I can kind of boost it a little bit. And my voice is loud, so I'm probably over that. Or you can hear me over that. So let's hear how this sounds. Oh, another little tip, you can fade in. So if you click on the 1812 overture, see this little dot, you can fade in. And so the music gradually ramps up. And at the very end, you can fade out too. But we're going to trim this down. So let's just hear how this sounds. Hey, there we go.
This is bad. This is really bad.
All right. So we have titles. We have sound from our movies. We have sound in addition to our movies. So yeah, you can do a voiceover, but if you have some funny sound effect that you want to add, you can also add it to this little area down here. But let's say we wanted to add pictures. So let's say we have another movie. So I'll click on My Media, and let's say we have this movie here. So this is 20 seconds. So I'm going to trim this down with my buddy here. So I'm going to do that split clip trick, delete everything else, and I'm going to make it longer. So now it's moving in slow motion here. There we go. It's looking. All right. So I can split clip. I can delete that. Now, oh, now I'm making it longer again. So now, what if I wanted to add a picture on top of this? What would that look like? What do pictures look like? So we go in and my photos library, and we'll scroll down a little bit to find pictures of, not my kids, but let's try a kid. Let's try this picture of just some development. So it's a full-scale mock-up of the ITLL at the University of Colorado. And so we were playing around with that. So I can embed the picture over a video. But right now the picture's so big it covers all of it. So what does that look like? Well, if I click on this, it's the two pictures. I can say whether or not I want a picture-in-picture or an overlay, and I chose picture-in-picture. And I can put a border on it. I can make my border magenta if I want. There we go. Yeah, there we go. And so, yeah, it starts dissolving away, but I don't necessarily want that. So there we go. And yeah, you can say whether or not you want it to be on top of a video, or let's say we just want it on the back of a background. So let's say I just wanted my industrial background here. So instead of this video here, I want my background instead. I can click on that and say replace. There we go. And now my picture is on the background. And let's say instead of picture in picture, let's say I wanted a cutaway. No, let's do picture in picture, but let's make it bigger. There we go. Now, one of the things you might be noticing is that my picture looks like it's moving. So what's that called? So if I click on this cropping icon, that's called the Ken Burns effect. And what the Ken Burns effect does is it enables us to have what appears to be movement by cropping a picture and moving it. So it's pretty easy. You just tell it where to start, how big you want, and tell it where to end and how big you want, and then it follows that. So right here, we have our picture moving, and we kind of pan up, and it gives movement to something that's stationary, like a picture. It's actually a really cool effect. If we want to have a title, we can also include that. And so let's have a title close to the top. We'll do an upper title. We'll include that right there. And we'll say lab stations. And then again, I might want to make that nice and big. I might not. It's up to you. There we go. So there it is, lab stations. And so yeah, we can kind of play around with pictures. Again, you can put them on videos, you can put them on a background. And then yeah, the last thing we'll go over is, yeah, how to do some credits. So credits are actually pretty easy. You just put them in their title. And so you bring them down and you say projects 2020. And then I can say student, and I can say student, we'll say students rule. There we go. And then that is basically it. But the last thing that you always want to make sure of is that you trim down your music to end with your video. So just do that split clip trick, delete the very end, and yeah, I think that will wrap up how to use this iMovie. We showed how to do some titles, some backgrounds, some videos, how to play around with audio and titles of the videos, and now we can embed pictures, and we can do it on videos, or we can do it on a background. We can play around with that Ken Burns effect, and then finally we want to have our projects or our title screen just kind of playing out the video. So that is that. That is iMovie in a nutshell. I hope it helped, and we will see you in our next videos. All right, bye-bye. Oh, wait, before we go, let's just see how it all turned out. Oops. We have our 1812 overture. There we go. Yeah, let's see.
This is bad. This is really bad.
There we go. There we go. So those are enough of our tools to play around with this thing. Hopefully you can see that it's really not so, it itself is really not so bad. And so yeah, have some fun creating your videos. I think the devil's in the details. And so yeah, we will see you in the next video. All right, bye-bye.